Hello and welcome to the Solar Panel, the podcast focusing on all things ESG within the warehouse and fulfillment and logistics sector. Joining me today, and will be every couple of weeks or so, to discuss the energy market, is the guest we had last week. There's Luke Rosen, who's the head of energy management at Perfect Sense Energy. Hello again, Luke.
Hello again, Tony. How are you?
Good. How are you? It's my turn to be in a cold, chilly room today.
Yeah, I'm slightly less chilly than I was last time, so can't complain.
You are in the porter cabin that I think many people have commented about.
Yes, I'm in the chalet yet again.
The chalet, I like that. It's another great phrase for a porter cabin. Anyway, let's get straight to it. We're going to have every couple of weeks or so, we're going to have a quick catch-up, quick couple of minutes, mainly looking at what's going on in the energy price market. But there was a big change last week. The government changed something. They are stopping the Energy Bills Relief Scheme in April, I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong. And they're replacing it with the Energy Bills Discount Scheme. What is the new scheme, Luke? How does it work? And what do we all need to look out for?
So, I suppose quite simply, I think it's fair to say that the original scheme, the Energy Bill Relief Scheme, has been very effective, with customers getting between 35 and 45p a kilowatt discount on their electricity contracts, which I think it far exceeded my expectations of the savings that scheme would deliver. The departure that will come in from the 1st of April this year is quite dramatic and goes, in my opinion, quite dramatically the other way.
Right. The
support largely, I think it's fair to say, dissipates or even disappears for most businesses. If you think that the highest discount prices we received was almost like 45, 50p a kilowatt for electricity on the old scheme. On this new scheme, the maximum discount anyone will get on their bill is just under 2p a kilowatt hour for electricity.
So correct me if I'm wrong, on the old scheme, the wholesale energy part of an electricity bill, for example, was fixed. I think it was 20.4 pence. And then there was the distribution charges on top of that. So how does this scheme run differently? So
whereas the previous scheme was a price cap, so there's a price cap, obviously, I think it's around about 21p a kilowatt for electricity.
Yeah.
On a fixed contract basis, and we'll talk about fixed contracts because it's probably the easiest metric to use.
Yeah.
On a fixed price contract, you would receive a discount down to that wholesale price cap, depending on where the market was when you signed your contract. So let's say, for example, loads of customers signed contracts in October, November. They may have been having a wholesale price of, £800 a megawatt, so about 80p a kilowatt.
Yes.
They would, in theory, receive a discount down to that 21, 24p a kilowatt price cap. On this new scheme, the numbers are kind of similar in the sense that it's a discount that'll be automatically applied. However, the reference price is £302 a megawatt, so 30.2 pence per kilowatt hour for wholesale price.
Right.
So I suppose 50% higher than the original price cap. But also, it's probably arguably a little bit still unclear as to what definitive metric will be used for that discount. So, is it based off the current market rolling average, which is well below that £302 a megawatt?
Yes.
Or will it be at the time they entered into that fixed price contract? And I mean,
right.
Yeah, and
this is to do with general underlying market prices, not necessarily what your contract says at any one time.
Potentially, yeah, and that's sort of the clarification. I suppose it's one of those things. I think even worst case scenario, you're going to save just under 2 pence a kilowatt hour on electricity.
Right.
So one of our clients who unfortunately had to sign a contract last minute last year, they've signed a contract at 75p a kilowatt for 1 year.
Yeah.
They've had the discount of around about 44p a kilowatt so far, and they will have that until end of March 23. But when this scheme ends, best case scenario, they will end up at 73p a kilowatt. So it doesn't, for them materially, it does nothing. It doesn't help them in any way, shape or form. And that's, I think, the situation that many businesses will feel, is that whilst we knew there was a discount or going to be a reduction in the support, I think the scale of the reduction is more dramatic than I think a lot of parties would have expected.
It sounds like it, because that's actually, and I'm in the industry now, but that's a shock to me. I didn't think it was going to work that way. So, well, I'll tell you what, let's come back to it in a couple of weeks and just see how it plays out, see how it, because I know there's always some grey areas. Well, people start to work out how the government are going to deliver it and how that, rolls through the energy company. So that's very interesting that it's not going to be as big as some people think it's going to be. Yes,
definitely. I mean, whilst the wholesale prices have fallen a lot since that time, we're still not looking at 15, 16p a kilowatts for electricity again. We're still well in the clutches of 35, 40p plus.
Well, that's a very nice link to the next question. Energy prices. What's going on at the moment? What are sort of 1 and 3 year deals looking like for sort of fixed price contracts?
We're still sort of seeing, well, wholesale prices have continued to come down steadily since I think we last spoke. We still haven't seen the full scale of discount appear in fixed pricing yet, but we are sort of seeing 38 to 45p's per kilowatt hour on electricity creep back in, which is a nice point to be at. I think the last time I saw those prices was around June last year, when we had a lot of customers hang fire on signing paperwork because they thought it was too expensive a cost increase.
That's significantly down from where it was last summer, and for some people that'll now feel like a good rate.
Yeah, that's the uncomfortable position of things, isn't it?
Yes. And what about a 3 year deal? Was that a 3 year deal sort of rate? Because I know there was a big difference between a 1 year contract and a 3 year contract.
Yeah, the differences are sort of smoothed out a little bit. Prices are about 20-30% cheaper further along the curve beyond sort of end of 23, early 24. They do get a little bit cheaper, but on balance, with the extra risk that gets built into those longer durations, it's broadly the same. There isn't the huge swathe of difference that we were seeing previously.
And do you see it carrying on trending down for a while? What are Cornwall Insight saying at the moment?
I think that the general view from the Cornwall Insight side of things, as well as what we can see at present, things are positive. There's nothing in this side of January to worry about dramatically. All of the murmurs around, we've had a couple of unplanned outages. There's some murmurs around EDF's fleet, as there invariably always is. There hasn't really been. There's been a blip in the morning upwards, but then that's all washed away over the course of the day. So at present, still a good, nice downwards trajectory, hopefully.
Just moving on to the final point, because I don't want the energy price podcast to be too long for people. Anything else we need to know that has come across your desk in the last couple of weeks, or have you had any great questions from customers that you think you'd like to share with us?
I suppose echoing a little bit, and at the risk of sounding like a parrot, that of what we said last time, is that it's never too early to start looking at contracts. And we actually engaged with a client this morning. We're just finishing off a solar installation for them, and they back in sort of June, summertime, had been reviewing prices, and they opted not to take what was probably about 180% increase back in June, July, because it was arguably deemed as too expensive. They couldn't absorb that risk.
Yeah.
And their advice from their TPI at the time was, wait, we don't know what the market's doing. Don't sign up now. Let's see what happens. Now, fast forward 4 or 5 months, they ended up signing at 70p for 12 months. So I suppose it's the lesson, I guess, is they didn't sign at a price that they couldn't afford or didn't want to lock into.
Yeah.
And they ended up having to sign at a price that was double that price.
Yeah.
And it's where I think that attitude to risk comes. If you can't afford a 180% increase, can you afford for that to go even higher? And I think it's a decision that no one can make except for the business. But it's one of those times where sage counsel may have given a different result than what they're currently paying.
So it just comes right back to what we said at the end of last week's podcast, which is understand your data, get the forecast from people like Coleman Insights. But the main thing is keep talking to a good quality broker and make sure you understand what's going on and work on collectively good decisions when you need to.
Yes, absolutely.
Good stuff. Luke, that's it again for this edition of the Solar Panel podcast. We'll do this every couple of weeks. We'll keep people up to date with what's going on. So thank you for your time and thank you for your knowledge.
No, thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Kyle, again for putting together and helping me put together this podcast. My name is Tony Gresty. That was the Solar Panel podcast. Until next time, hope the sun keeps shining. Have another great day.